Good morning, all. Welcome, welcome all for this SysOps admin on AWS today on this Sunday. People can hear me? Hello, anyone?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Thanks for people are joining today. I see many people are there in that. Okay, today we will talk about the AWS SysOps admin. The last week I was talking about the Palo Alto firewall. Palo Alto firewall is like a number one firewall in the world, and there are many installations that are happening on the on-premises and data centers and in the clouds also. We are a lot of things we are doing on the firewall sections as well. So now today I would like to talk about this SysOps admin, system operations on AWS. AWS has got so many certifications. To start with that, there is a cloud practitioner is there. The cloud practitioner is for the people who are not a much technical people or something. They can, the people who are doing some sales or, the managers who are managing the teams or something, they can go for that cloud practitioner exams. And the other one, which is a cloud associate, that is a cloud architect associate exam is there. That is for some engineers. And there is one more exam is there that is called as which we are going to see today, SysOps admin administrators. SysOps admin means a system operations, the people who are doing it. Like previously we used to call them as like a network admin or the system admin people. Like system admin in the sense Red Hat admin people and Windows administrators, Active Directory administrators, LDAP administrators, and as well as the firewall administrators, like database administrators, like that. So that kind of an administrator level exam has been discussed over here in this SysOps admin. SysOps admin involves the practicals, labs, whichever we see on solution architect level also. Solution architect level is a bit higher. You can just say SysOps admin is like uh, the it's again a bit higher than the solution architect level. So when you see about the topics which we are going to discuss on that solution architect and SysOps admin, they will be looking like more of the same only, but we'll be doing a lot of the software side. SDK will be using that, CLI will be using a lot in the SysOps admin level. So this is going to be like an administrator level. Like that architect, they made it in that way that people can, who are working as an engineers, and they would like to do some kind of sales and other operations as well. And the managers, if they would like to upgrade their knowledge to the AWS cloud knowledge, they can go for that. And there are many lab scenarios as well. It has been there, but SysOps admin has got one step ahead of that. So we will talk about that SysOps admin today on this session. And welcome all for this SysOps admin session again once more. And so solution architect, I have delivered this kind of demonstration, I guess 2 to 3 times in earlier. I have taken a lot of badges also for the solution architect level. So who can come to this, solution architect and the SysOps admin level? Would like to tell you about that. What is the prerequisites for that? Prerequisites in the sense the person has to be working on a network industry for at least 2 to 3 years. And he should have worked on multiple platforms like Windows and Linux. Linux is more important. Windows, Linux, and databases and network completely. Like he should have configured some routers and switches and firewalls and other things. Load balancers, if you worked on, it's nice. And it should be worked on multi-vendor environment also, not only Cisco or Juniper or something. You should be working on multi-vendor environment also. That will help them to be on the cloud, because the cloud is open to all. Open to all in the sense every vendor can have their own equipment installed in the AWS cloud. AWS cloud, in the AWS cloud, we have wide variety of equipments which are available as a third-party integrations which we can go for. Third-party integration in the sense Palo Alto firewall I can integrate. FI load balancer I can integrate. Fortinet firewall I can integrate. Like that, many third-party applications also available on this AWS platform. So what is the problem is that we just need to pay per hour basis, and we'll have to use with that, the paid tier only it is possible for the third party application integrations. We don't get it on a free tier or something other. Free tier is nothing but for to do your, like experiencing the cloud, means to work on the cloud to understand what things going on, how to configure it, how to configure the web servers on this, how will you create a network for your own organizations, how do you create a subnets on this, then what are the access lists which you are going to return on that? What are the firewall rules we'll be giving on this? How the access has been given for a third party people, your clients and your administrators like that. So these are all the things which we will be discussing on this particular demo. AWS, everyone knows that is the number one in the cloud market, and they started this company on maybe in the 1990s only. AWS means Amazon has started. AWS services started last 10 years back. So they have wide variety of services which are running on this. EC2 service, that is Elastic Cloud Computing. Storage service, that is S3 service. RDBMS service, that is the database services. And machine learning, artificial intelligence, messaging, emailing, like Lambda, that is a container services. Like you can create some of your own Dockers and Kubernetes and other containers in this possible. And you can have the Redshift also, like a data warehousing solutions. So what not there in AWS? AWS is offering the every other solutions, and we can even do the complete programming on AWS itself. It will be creating for us the platform for to create the new applications as well. So people can develop their own platforms on this by using the .NET, Python, or Java, something like that. The platform also we can create that. So basically, we can talk about that IaaS, that is a infrastructure as a service. In that infrastructure as a service, we'll be having the servers can be installed, server hardware, server software, client connections, database installations, hardware in the sense what kind of a platform we are looking for. Either it is a 64 virtual CPU or 128 virtual CPU with the 128 GB RAM, DRAM, or more than that. And the hard disk size, we can go for the block storage there. Then the block store, we can acquire the hard disk as well. So everything is a menu-based selection only. It's very easy for us to work on an AWS. So menu-based selection in the sense when you are working on a free tier operations, you should be taking much care about that, what selection you are making it. If you just make the another selection or something, the pricing will start immediately. Billing will start for you under your account. That's a problem. So you require a proper guidance for to use the cloud operations. So in this particular certificate scenario, we will be able to see multiple practicals which is involved in the free tier operations only. And certain services which cannot come in the free tier, we'll be seeing it under the paid tier also, but you don't spend much money in learning those things in the AWS cloud. Frankly speaking, that it comes under the free tier. We can use our credit card or debit card to open our account in AWS. And 12 months free services are available for us. We can try out all the services for that. It's like a trial period. After the 12 months, if you would like to continue with the same email address and with the same credit card number or something like that, you will be get charged for each and everything, whichever you are using that. And certain services are lifelong, it is free, they are giving it. But actually, we will not be able to do any production with that lifelong free service at all. They'll give only one virtual CPU, 1 GB RAM, like 8 GB hard disk. With that, the server may be running, but you will not be able to do any kind of production in that. Business cannot run with that one virtual CPU and all. It's not possible. So when the customers are connecting to your equipment, in the sense they will be looking for a heavy duty CPU. Many virtual CPUs has to be there, so it can handle the load of the customers who are coming in. So once you commission and you give it back to the customer, in the sense you will be able to maintain all these things, right? Because there will be issues will come up like system is not reachable. It's giving the slow performance for us. Some other users are not able to reach that. Some of the users are reaching that, and database is not properly updating for that. Like normal day-to-day operation, whatever we are doing on the system admin side, the same thing will be coming up in the AWS platform also. So nothing is error free, but we can make it error free by doing the proper maintenance of the services as well. And we just need to take out the requirement of the customer. Accordingly, we'll have to construct that cloud for that, because cloud has got so many. It's like an ocean. We have so many services which are available on the AWS. In that server, we need to be in a position that we'll have to take the requirement of the customers, and accordingly we need to construct the services which are required for them. Inside the services also, we require to maintain that, the CPUs and hardwares and hard disks and application installations and the traffic pattern the people are looking for. How they would like to go for that? What are the things like they will be doing it on a peak period, and how do they do it on the night times, something like that. Accordingly, we just need to tune up the network also for that. So this is cloud is actually, it's nothing new to, we are going to do that. That is, everything is old only. Means in the technology level, I'm just saying that you are going to maintain the server, you'll be maintaining the hard disk, you'll be maintaining the network, and he'll be maintaining the databases, user creations, rights and permissions givens, and folder openings, like email creations for them, and giving the rights for the particular directories and some other files or something. So everything has been same, like a sysadmin job only you are doing that, network admin job only you are doing that, but the platform is different. The way you are connecting to that, to the cloud services, that is different. The way you are going to maintain it, that is different, because whatever the on-premises equipment, in the sense you can just go and see what's actually happening on that server. Maybe like the card is not working properly, in the sense you just go and take down a small maintenance window, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, reinsert the card, and you just come back, and whether the services are operational or something, that you can do it. But it is not possible in cloud. Okay, because where you are installing the servers, maybe you'll be installing the servers in Bombay, but your office must be in Bangalore or Hyderabad somewhere. So how do you go to that Bombay to correct your hardware problems or something? It is not possible. So we are in a position to talk to the AWS engineers. They will be helping us to do the troubleshooting things on this. So troubleshooting in the sense like normal troubleshooting, when CPU hike is happening, 100% CPU is going on. Some of the memory is like it started leaking on this. Memory leaking problems are coming up, and hard disk has been completely full. 80% of the hard disk has been full, so 20% is only left out. So we need to insert the new hard disk for that. And after that, we just need to give the proper access to that one. We have to take the proper backup of this everyday operation or weekly backup. It depends on the customer's requirement. So troubleshooting is also been there. In this sysops admin, we will be doing a lot of troubleshooting on this because it is administrator's work. Solution architect level, we will be doing the construction and other things. Like we will be configuring the AWS cloud through the three ways. That is one is through the graphical user interface. Another one is through the command line interface, CLI. The third one is through the APIs, application programmer interface. Like that is quite hard in the nowadays, like APIs and Lisp and many other things people are using that now. So we should be in a position to know about all these three ways of configuring the AWS services for our customers. If it is for your company or you are doing it for a third party company or a customer or something. So you should have a proper training for to AWS, because you should not end up in spending the much money for your customer by doing the wrong selections on the menus, because it is just a menu based only. So 64-bit CPU, 64 virtual CPU is also in a menu selection, and I will be having like 128 virtual CPU is also been available. So if you come across that 128, you just commissioned it as it is, in the sense in an hour there will be charges will be very high for the customer. Then there will be a lot of escalations on this one. So you just need to avoid that. What selections we are making, that what is the criteria for that, what is the plan and budget for the people, so they can create their own budget. Like every customer can create their own budget, and if it is exceeding the budget, AWS will be giving the mail to them, like because it is going to beyond your budget level or something, would you like to cut down certain services or cut down certain servers which are not utilized or something. So they will be giving like a lot of suggestions for us. AWS is helping a lot, and you can call the AWS anytime if you are a valid customer and you have the number for that, and you can email it to them. They will be sending the email for you. You can take them into the bridge conference or something. You can start working with them. And only problem is that the services which are there, it is not in our hand. In our hand, in the sense, it is not that you can go and see something like, because every service is running on a virtual in the sense it is in somewhere in the data center, either maybe in Bangalore. Sorry, it's not in Bangalore at all. AWS is only in Bombay in India, and Singapore, Sydney, Hong Kong, and European countries like Paris, London, somewhere. So we all doing the remote operations only in AWS. Whenever you are configuring the certain services or something, it's going to be in the remote services only we'll be doing it. So remote services, in the sense, we should be able to know that what is the remote services components of that. Either you will be doing the SSH or Telnet. Telnet has been blocked because Telnet is not the secure way to connect your Linux servers or database servers. So we will be doing always the SSH. SSH means a secure shell. So you should know the port number for that, and you should have made the selections for that, like how the people are going to connect to that one. Like that, many things we just need to see that. And when you are activating the network for the people, like VPC, we are creating that. That is one other service, virtual private cloud. When you're creating the virtual private cloud, we'll be creating the subnets for the people. We'll be creating the subnets for a database subnets, file server subnets, storage subnets, like many other subnets we just need to create. And we'll have to create a proper gateway for that. An access list has to be created. Which person can access that particular subnet? Only the database engineers database users, whoever doing the data entry operations, they have to get that activation for their services as well. So it is overall, we will be constructing the services inside which are already available. We will tune it up accordingly to our own company requirement. That is what we have to be in a position to understand, that what is an AWS services, how to activate the services, how do we create an account for that AWS to train yourself, and what are the free account, what are the operation, what are the options are there in the free accounts, and how many hours we will be working on certain services on this, what sort of a service we will be able to take up that and we can work on in the free tier operations and in the paid tier operations, what all the operating systems are available, so that we can construct the web servers, database servers, file servers, application servers like that. And accordingly, we'll be to choose that hardware for to install those servers and activating the services as well. So once the service has been activated, we just need to check it out inside the cloud itself by creating certain servers on this. Within the cloud itself, we just need to check it out, and otherwise we will have to check it from the client side also. Means like from your home, you'll be checking it, from your office, you'll be checking that. So those connectivity need to be properly established. Once the connectivity has been established in the sense, then we can go for a testing on this. Then we can commission it. Then we can give it back to the customer that your services are running on this. So this kind of an operations, which we normally do in our on-premises also. On-premises, what we do normally when you try to acquire a server or something like that, you will be going for a quotations. So you're sending the quotation by saying your hardware requirements and software requirements as well. So you'll be sending this as a quotation for that, expecting that information, bidding like that. We send it as 4 to 5 vendors or something in the local. So everyone will be quoting their own, the amount for that to install those things and all. So you'll be seeing that which one is quoting like lesser, so you'll be giving that. So this itself will be taking at least 10 to 15 days for that, this operation to complete. Okay. You find out the vendor, and the vendor is going to, he'll be sending all the equipments to you. Then it depends on the requirements of the equipments from the local data, local warehouse or something like that, or they will be exporting it, importing it from some other location or something. So it'll be again, it will take 15 to 20 days for it. So 15 days for to finalize the vendor, again 15 days for to get the equipments in your, then you will start configuring all these things. When you are configuring it, you'll take at least three to four, or take it as a 1 week or something to tune up everything, installing application servers and creating users and giving them, like access and permissions and folder creations, application testing, and they will be asking for a testing people to test it out on everything. So once everything has been completed, the server completely ready for after a 45 days only. So 45 days it takes for to install a server in your on-premises or even in your data center or something. But these things, this 45 days, we can restrict it into just 1 hour. We can't even believe that within 1 hour your server will be ready. You can hire the server and you can install the applications, you can make it ready, you can do the testings, and you can make everything. Only the technical part is with you, because the server, hardware, software, everything has been provided by the AWS itself. And that is also what level of the service we require. What should be the capacity of that server, required. We can get everything on this. We don't need to compromise on any quality or any quantity of the RAM and the hard disk and the CPU and the network performance. And normally network interface card will be using 10 gig cards. We can have more than that in the cloud also. That is also possible. 25 GB connections also we can have. So like cloud is like, it is like a heaven for the people who are looking for immediate action on it. So even for entrepreneurs who are making a startup companies, they can go for the cloud services. Even if it is a bigger corporate companies also looking for AWS operations, because it's very easy for them. Turning out the project and making the production available within a day, next day, it is just a dream in when you are own data center or in your on premises something, but that is possible in cloud. In the next day, you will be starting the production for that. So, and moreover, whenever you finished your all work, means the production has been over, the project has been completed, and you deliver the component to the customer, like if you are creating an application or something, you tested, verified everything, then what you can do, once you deliver it, you can dismantle all the servers and other hardwares as well. Means under your account, whatever the software hardware you acquired, you can just give it back to that. Means dismantling, throwing it, terminating. It's very much possible. In AWS, AWS will not ask you like why you are giving it back to us. Means we don't require. It is like just taking the hiring of the equipments, hiring of the software, And hiring of the equipment is also very latest hardware we can get there. We are not getting the older one. And latest software versions will be getting, updated versions will be getting on this. So this is a very major advantage of the cloud, going for a cloud or something. Even for a normal startup companies which cannot afford for heavy hardware acquiring, means you do not want to create any assets. Asset creation is not at all there in the cloud. You don't need to own an equipment or something. You're not going to keep it in your racks, filling the racks and keeping it for years and years. How do you sell it back or something? So those things are completely avoided. So we are just hiring the things, and as soon as whenever the operation is got over, our project is got over, we can just give it back to the AWS. Like once next project comes up, we can pick it up. How does it affordable to the AWS? That may be the questions. So that because they are doing it in a very large scale all over the world, it's affordable for them, and they are introducing so many services for us, like, and accordingly we will be choosing that. So many opportunities are which are getting created on AWS. So if, yeah, whenever a company, whatever a company you are working on, definitely every other company, every other department and project peoples will be thinking of going to the cloud in next 3 months or next 6 months and maybe next year, like that. I've seen many other project people, bigger companies are also started thinking about that. Why should we spend the money for hardware, acquiring hardware and software? And after that project has been got over, what should I do with that hardware? I should be selling those things in a depreciation cost. There is another calculation is there. But who will be buying it? After 3 years, 4 years, you are selling the equipment up to days, and the value will also be lesser. The CPU, whichever you're taking, that may not be running with the current technologies as well. So we are trying to acquire that equipment which is built for to face the current technologies as well. Like, so those things are not available on the next 3 years. That after 3 years there will be requirement will be more. The older hardware cannot be used, older software cannot be used. How do you sell it out? Then you may have to give it to some kind of a charity organizations or some kind of a schools or colleges and universities for a people to, practice or something like that. Only it's possible. So there is a heavy cost running. Even though if you keep a proper profit or managing or margin or something, but still the depreciation cost is actually, it's a loss to the company. So what all the other companies are thinking of, because every other company which is operating in a monthly basis only nowadays, when so they will be making a contract with the clients, like that we'll be creating the software within a 6 months, and we'll be creating this animation movie in a 6 months, 1 year, like that. It depends on the density of the hardware and the 3D animation or 2D animation they are looking for. Like there are many other companies which are looking for that. They will be looking for only the projects which has to be finished in 3 to 6 months project or something like that. So once you finish those projects, what you're going to do with the hardware? So you will give it back to that. So in that way, AWS is better option. Any cloud is a better option, but we are talking about AWS now here. So AWS, Amazon Web Services. What all the services are offered from Amazon? We will be seeing in the coming up slides. And what all the certifications we'll be doing on this? Solution architect, cloud practitioner, sysops admin. And the next level, we'll be going for a database engineers, network engineer specialty. So many specialty certifications also there. So we will be choosing that certifications accordingly. What is our requirement is. We will have that, either we'll be going for a solution architect level or we'll be going for a sysops admin level, like that. So sysops admin level is a bit more than your solution architect level. It's an associate level only again. And you would like to go to the next level, in the sense it's going to be the DevOps admin. So you need to know about the coding and programming things also. Don't worry about the coding and all. We can learn, because we learn everything from the scratch only. We learn about the hardware, we learn about the software, and we learn about the operating systems and network cards, configurations, firewalls, and everything. So coding also can be learned. It's not a problem, because once you come to the code, once you come to the cloud, sorry, once you come to the cloud, coding is very important. Coding in the sense, any one of the programming knowledge, if you have that knowledge of that, you can apply that knowledge into that coding, and you can learn that coding also. It is not so much harder. There are many coding options which are available. You can even create a coding platform also. You can create that in AWS platform. Python platform, you can create .NET platforms, you can create, and many other software also there. According to the software, people who are creating the new applications based on certain platforms, which we can hire it from the AWS on this. So we are talking about the sysops admin level. So administrator is a position that where we will be, what will be beneficial for a 3rd and 4th year engineering graduate and do any certification started to this CSIT. Yeah, actually speaking about the freshers, freshers in the sense they have to be starting with any kind of administration level first. Administration in the sense they should be either going for a Windows administrator or you should be starting with that Linux administrator or network administrator like that. Windows admin means MCSE, MCIT, some classes are there. And Red Hat admins in the sense like RHCE, RHCSA certifications are there. Then network administration in the sense you'll have to go for a CCNA, CCNP like that. So once you have that proper knowledge of the OS and the network, then you can come to the cloud. If you start directly on the cloud, that wouldn't help you at all because cloud is completely a mess. And even the experienced guys also don't understand the cloud properly. They require a proper training for them. So I don't recommend the freshers are directly coming into the cloud. In our company also we don't recruit the people for to the AWS directly, the people who are coming as a fresher. We would like to give them like normal Windows server operations, Linux server operations, operation and maintenance, and the network server, like network operation and maintenance. You would like to give them those things, like to start with it at least 1 or 2 years. And to get into this position or something, you require to have properly trained on either on Windows Server or Linux Server or the network, because these three things are very much important for you to come to the cloud. In cloud, what actually we are doing, we are going to install the servers, either Windows or Linux, and we will be constructing the network. In the network, we'll be talking about a subnet, access list, firewalling, load balancing things. And we'll be talking about next, we'll talk about the database. It depends on that. So person who are coming up as a new guy, it's not recommended, it's not suggested to go for a cloud directly. That I can tell you on this. You're asking about any certification. Certification related in the sense you can go for MCIC, MCSCs, Microsoft certifications are there, Red Hat certifications are there, and Cisco certifications are there to get, I have made one previous one, freshers in IT. Like that, I'll give you that. It's a freshers in IT. There is a one video I just made it in YouTube. It is there in my own channel. You can check it out. What they can do, what all the things they need to get certified on this, something like that. Okay, you must be getting this on freshers in IT. If you just search on my channel, Ramnath Kesav, like youtube.com/c something, then you can get this, freshers in IT. So you watch that video. That will be, I've spoken about the freshers only on that. Here I am talking about for experienced people who are already at least in a 3 to 4 years experience on the industry, either in administration field, the network field, or in database field or programming field or something. So then only the people can come to, yeah, okay, no problem. Then only the people can come to the cloud. Otherwise, it will be complete. They will not understand anything at all. You can just go for it, no problem, because many people are offering that. They'll just tell you, like, you can, yeah, we can do that. It's possible. And you can get into the cloud. Immediately, you will get the job. People are not offered. It is not given to them because they don't know anything about the basics on the networks as well. So without knowing the, like cycle riding, you cannot do the bike riding. That's why. That's how it goes like this. So basic requirements are there to come to the cloud. So once you are acquire those informations, knowledge and about the network, servers, databases, and client connectivity, OS platforms, and other things, it's easy for you to come to the cloud side. Then only you can do something on cloud. Else it's a problematic. Okay, now we will go for the one by one services which are offered in the cloud. I will be explaining this. Let me make it a 5 second. Yeah. So AWS platform, what all the AWS platform is offering for us? The AWS platform is offering game development, artificial intelligence, like game development, artificial intelligence, messaging services, business productivity, Internet of Things, desktop and app streaming, application services, developer tools, mobile services, analytics, security and identity, management tools, migration, storage, databases, network and content delivery. It's very important. Computing, that is called as the EC2 services. We normally would say AWS global infrastructure. So these are all the informations you will be seeing it. You will be getting that actually. There are many other services also which doesn't come up in this particular slide. So we will be seeing those services also while going on the next level or something. Somebody is being. I am working as a security analyst. If I get the knowledge of AWS SysOps, will it help me? Definitely, it will help you. Kashif is asking like, Yeah, definitely. You are a security analyst in the sense we are, see, security analyst is going to work out in the on-premises security, data center security, as well as cloud security also you'll be working on. Once you are working on a cloud level security in the sense, you require to have the cloud-based knowledge that you can gather it through this sysops admin or the solution architect level exam. So everyone has to move toward the cloud, whatever the field you are working on, whichever the domain you are working on. You are an administrator or a security analyst or a database admin guy or a database programmer who is a SQL programming, and all people are doing that. And they are working on a containers like that. So everyone requires to know about this in the sense we require to get into the cloud. So cloud operations, cloud knowledge is a very much required for everyone so that you will be able to understand what is the cloud. So you can come down, you can come to this AWS SysOps admin. That is not a problem at all. Next, services you should know to pass the SysOps exam because we are talking about the exam level. So what all the SysOps will be covering up? Messaging and desktop upstreaming, security and identity. You see the security has come up here. Security and identity, storage, management tools, databases, networking and content delivery, compute, AWS global infrastructure, messaging and desktop administration. So this much of the information which we would like to know about to clear that SysOps administrator exam because you are going to administrate the mail server. You'll be administrating the mail servers for that admin like that, mail server admin, server file server admins, network admins, security and identity. That is nothing but a user creations and giving them the rights. Yeah, he's speaking again. So curious to know how do you write on the screen? Who's that? That's a yeah. See, the Zoom is giving me some options. Zoom is giving me the annotation options of that. If you can see that, okay, this is a Zoom question. Okay, this is not related to AWS. Anyway, I will answer that. There is a tool which is giving the annotation is giving up. See, once I guess you may not be able to see this one. Then I can write on this EC2 AWS like that. I can write that. Then I can clear it also, clear my drawings. I can just, okay. Okay, anyway. So SysOps exams, we require to know all these things, storages, databases, computing services, network and content delivery, global infrastructure, you should know that, messaging and other applications. We are about to work with the CLI, means a command line interface as well as a software development kit on APN as well. These are all things you should know that. So the next one we'll see. So AWS, it's about the global infrastructure. How do they construct their cloud? It is about the 24 launched regions are there. It's a bit old. 3 months back, I made this PPT. Maybe now it may be more than that. 24 launched regions, each with multiple availability zones. AZ means availability zones. And 3 announced regions, they are going to come up in the future like this. And 2 plus 2, 2x more regions with multiple AZs than next largest cloud provider. Next largest means in the sense Azure is the next largest, Microsoft. Then the Google comes, Google cloud platform it comes. Always AWS is the number one. I can definitely say that number one is AWS. Number two is Azure. Number three is Google. Like that. All right. So 245 countries they are present. They are present in 245 countries. You see that? This much of installations, I guess nobody is having that. 245 countries present and 77 availability zones means it's a zone wise and 2 local zones and 2 wavelength zones for ultra low battery, latency applications like that. And 97 direct connect locations. Direct connect in the sense, see, this is your network. You are having it in on premises, but this network no need to connect to the internet because when you would like to get into the internet, when you would like to connect to the AWS cloud in the sense, you have to come through the internet. We are all doing that. But direct connect in the sense, they will be giving you the direct fiber connection to the AWS network. That is called as a direct connection. AWS network can be connected through this direct connect, DC. We call it as a DC. The fiber will be giving the connection. You don't require internet connection to connect to the AWS services. That also possible. We can have the lease lines, some lines to directly connecting to the AWS platform. We can connect to that and 216 point of presence, edge locations and 11 regional edge centers. So many other informations about the global infrastructure. Next, global presence. So here we are seeing that about the America and the Europe and other things. So there is a link is there which we can go here and we can check it up that what are the infrastructure is there in the AWS. Let it go. That's going on. So this is a region map and edge networks. South America. 1 second. Yeah, somebody is pinging. Wavelength zones. This is about the names which they are calling it like. Wavelength means it's a low latency zones like that. If the people would like to have some kind of, the area where the net is not properly connected or something, they will be giving some boost to that. That is a wavelength zone. It is called. It's a brand, something like that. They just make it out. You can just say South America. There are many countries present on this one. If you go to the Europe and Middle East, and these countries are given on this, yeah, I guess in the Bahrain it may be there. It's EMEA showing that, and it is coming here like not coming. Okay, and Asia Pacific, we have it in Bombay, in our own country. We have it is in Bombay on this, and China, Hong Kong, Australia, Sydney, and everywhere is there. The AWS wavelength. Let me see. Wavelength enables developers to build the application that delivers single-digit millisecond latency to mobile device and end users. AWS developers can deploy their applications to the wavelength zones. This is what wavelength. Sir, you have AWS gives a 12-month free account. Does it give access to all services present without any limitation? Will it work if we use free account only with a different email ID when 12-month period ends? This is hard. Okay, see, you can avail the services. That is not a problem at all. Even with a different credit card with different email address, you can create one more account for you after a 12 months. It is very much possible. But what all we are getting in free services, that you need to know that. For a learning purposes, educational purposes, this free tier account will perfectly work. For production, it never works, because in production we require a heavy capacity server. That is, a virtual CPUs should be near about 24, 32, 48 CPUs we require for that. Those CPUs machines, we will not be able to install it under the free tier. Okay, even you cannot run a small business also with your free tier operations. It is not at all possible. Connectivity will be very, like very latent, and they will be keep on monitoring that what actually you are doing on this. But actually, it is not at all possible. I know that. If you come to the sessions, I will be definitely explaining you that why we cannot run the production under the free tier. Like lot of heavy limitations are there. This is only for how the service can be activated. That's what we can see that. Means a similar, same kind of a topology we will be creating it in the production environment, but you will be choosing the different selections of the servers and the network capacity as well. When you have the network card, it will not be giving not even 10 Mbps connection also for it when you are connecting from the outside. But 10 Mbps connection in the sense in a corporate environment, it will never work at all. We require to have at least 1 GB or 10 GB connections for the network interface card, so that they will be able to enjoy the database connectivity for that. So as your question goes like that, because you would like to learn something in the 12-month free period, you can definitely have it. Another 12 months also you can create with a different email ID. That is very much possible. But what you get it, you will be getting only the free tier operations only you will be getting it, not for the other ones. Like, your question is definitely correct. It is possible after the 12-month period ends, they can do it with a different Gmail address. It is possible. I am also doing the same thing for to take the sessions. Okay, but actually, in our corporate we are having some different accounts as well. I cannot show that one because there is a lot of production environment is there that cannot be revealed on the YouTube and all. It is against the company policies and other thing. I will be showing you the demos on my own account. I have my own account. You just see that I logged into my account, that is a stuckroute@gmail.com. This is my account ID like that. So with this we can able to see that. There's a different one. Okay. A wavelength is for like a low latencies. It will be giving you mobile zones and other things. And services offers a broad set of global based services, including compute, storage, and analytics and other thing. 12 months of greater availability for this. High availability, improving continuity, compliance and data resiliency. So many things are there. Okay, we'll come back to this one. Global network of AWS regions. The cloud spans 77 availability zones with 24 geographic regions around the world, with announced plans of 9 more availability zones and 3 more AWS regions in Indonesia, Japan, and Spain. They are all coming up now. Okay, what is a region? What is a AZ? AZ means availability zone. A region is a geographical area Each region consists 2 or more availability zones. Geographical area, you can take it as like a continent, something like. Region consists of 2 availability. Availability zone is nothing but a data center. That is what, simply a data center, like that. So availability zone is a data center which is residing in a region. Region means a geographical location. That's a simple one. What is an edge location? Some other question is coming up again. Is it advisable to set up BCP DR site to primary on premises on cloud? Dattatreya is asking, very technical question. Is it advisable to set up the BCP DR site primary? See, that depends on the company policy. DR and like on premises. Normally, what we do, we don't want to cut down our services. Means like a primary site. If you like to keep it, that depends on the policies and the managers. The decision goes on. If you are asking me about the suggestions, because of that, what normally we do, if it is a critical servers, if you like to keep a critical servers in that, we will be keeping it in data centers only. It will not be in the on premises at all, because on premises we need to maintain the proper AC, power, security personnels, 3 shift people and everything. So there will be like a multiple, it will be costing heavily for me. Even if my company and my employees, my own employees, or my customers, people who are accessing, in the sense, I'll be keeping the critical servers on the local data centers only. The data centers are maintained properly. That's why. So we will give it as like a DR site and all like that. We'll keep it in a cloud only. That's what my suggestion is that. But your managerials, your technical people has to accept that, to keep that on premises like thing on the cloud or something. That is a very technical question. I answered you. From my point of view, I just answered that. Okay. What is an edge location? Edge locations are CDN endpoints for CloudFront. CloudFront is another service which will be offering your YouTube videos and audios. Nowadays we are having Savan and many other streaming sites, or the song streaming sites. So those are all coming through the CloudFront only. There are many more edge locations than the regions. Currently, there are 66 edge locations. We'll go to the next one. AWS platform. In the networking content delivery, this is very important because I'm a networking guy. In the networking content delivery, we will be talking about a VPC. That is a virtual private cloud. Route 53. This is about routing the DNS queries to the proper services for to handle any kind of a failure from your websites. CloudFront. This is for your trailers and like a video streaming, audio streaming can be done through this CloudFront. Direct connect. I already explained you. Without having the internet connection, we can have the AWS network connection from our on-premises network through the fiber cable connection to directly to the AWS cloud. It's possible. We don't require internet connection for that. So this is coming under discussing under the networking and content delivery. Next. And this is the compute. Without a compute, we will not be able to do anything at all. Even you would like to check your network whether it is working or something, we require to create one server. So I would like to tell you that only servers can be created. No, what is that? No desktops can be created. Now they are giving like Apple Mac, which can create that you can activate it like a desktop or something. But that is for only the checking purpose. We can do that. And again, the availability is very harder. You cannot get so easily the Mac machines in the AWS cloud because there is a heavy fight is going on with that. Even for you to try it out also, like in our production also we tried that, but we do it with our on-premises PCs only to check our servers. Another question: can you please show some lights on fog computing and shadow IT? Oh, okay. See, these are all. I will answer you later, not now. Okay. These are all fog computing and clouding, shadowing, and other things. Okay. EC2, we will be talking about. EC2 means elastic cloud computing. Elastic cloud computing in the sense, if you installed one server and you would like to expand the processor and other things and all. Okay. You would like to expand your processor, or you would like to expand your hard disk because it is going off. So there is nothing but an elastic. Elastic in the sense, the selections are quite easy for you. Menu based selections only. You can choose the server as and when you want, or you can even upgrade your server by just picking up the data back. Then you can upgrade the server and push the data back to that. So like elastic cloud computing, that's called as an elastic something. Elastic cloud computing, container service, elastic beanstalk. These are all like automation purposes done. Through automatic process, you can install your servers on this. Lightsail, EC2 is a normal one. Container service, Kubernetes and Docker containers. So many other containers you can create that. Lambda is for automation purpose. Okay, and we will go to that. This is another compute. Next, we'll go to storage. Very important. We are all keeping our photographs and videos and college functions, culturals, and everything in the Google Drive. Normally, we'll keep it out. The Google Drive is nothing but the cloud storage. Earlier, without knowing the cloud storage, we were storing many things on the Google Drive. So, like the same kind of a storage is available in the AWS platform also. One of the most, like dependable and very much critical storage is an S3. All over the world, this is number one certified. You can keep that in S3. Outages are very, 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 very minimal. I can just say very 100 times also. Like 0.00001%, it will be like a failing. So very much credible and very much, like depend on this particular storage service to use for your computing services as well, or to store your data over here. Either it is a bulk data or small data, or it is going to be a, sir, how safe is to store our data on the cloud platform? So safe in the sense like that we will be creating the proper access list and we will be giving only the access to the people who requires it. We are not going to give it to everyone else. Okay, anyway, how you are securing your email, can you tell me? In your on-premises, we will be putting a proper the antivirus software and we'll be putting the proper firewall rules for that. So who can access your email server or something. Same thing, we will be doing it on the cloud platform also. It is not so easy that it is in the cloud so anyone can hack it. No, no way. We are having some kind of standards which we need to maintain that to put our data on the cloud, because of the Google Drive is not so much giving the security or something. That's why the question arises. But once it is coming to the corporate in the sense, Google Drive behaves differently. The same way S3 also doing that. EFS is a elastic file storage, something it can take us. Then Glacier, this is for very less access to data. Less access data. Less access means in a year you may be accessing this data for 1 or 2 years only. But S3 is used for very frequent access data line and the storage gateways. These are all we will be doing it in the storage services. Then the AWS storage portfolio. What all the type of the storages can be, means the files can be stored. It is an object like that. If you like to store it, Amazon S3 will support. Block file storage. It is an Amazon EBS, Elastic Block Storage. It will be showing that. File storage, EFS, FSX for Windows, FSX for Lustre. You know that backup, AWS backup, you can do it. If you like to back up your data, then you can do it out. This is a normal sysadmin job, which they are doing it for a Windows server, Linux servers like that. So data server, data transfer and edge processing, AWS storage gateway, data sync, transfer for SFTP, and Snowball Edge. Many services are there in storage. Okay, in databases, how many people knows about the database? We are all knowing the database because of our people are doing the database. So RDS is a relational database services. Redshift is a data warehousing. DynamoDB is for a very large scale or something like that. You can go Elasticache. Many other things are also. Redis is a Redshift, Redis, and MongoDB. Many other databases are available on this. As and when required, as per our customers' requirement, we will be choosing that databases services for us. In that RDS or Oracle comes in that, and your normal MySQL is coming in that, or MS SQL is coming. MS SQL on this. Like that, all the RDS platforms which you can work on this. This is coming under the databases. Next one is a migration part. When you would like to migrate heavy storage information, means like you have TBs and TBs of data which you acquired and gathered it for last 10-15 years of your company, and you would like to transfer all these things towards the cloud. You cannot just do it through the link or something like that. It will be taking a lot of time. So for that, they have some different services called Snowball, data migration service, DMS, server migration service, that is an SMS. Like these are all coming under the migration part. 80% of the work which has been done in India by all the engineers, it's a migration projects only they are doing it. Thank you for the invite, as I have to go to offline for a duty. Okay, no problem, no issues. Praveen, okay, thank you. Anyway, so we will go to the next slide and the AWS platform. In the analytical side, we can use the Athena, Kinesis, EMR, Cloud Search, Elasticsearch, Data Pipeline, QuickSight. So these are all analytics who are going to do the data analysis. Data analyst people are there, and they will be analyzing about a particular site, and they will be creating the reports, and they'll be looking for kind of marketing and e-commerce and other things. Like these are all the people who are working under the analytics platform. They can utilize one of these tools on the cloud. Next, this is about the security and identity. Security and identity, IAM, like identity and access management, it comes in. Certificate manager, WAF, there is a web application firewall, inspector, director service, directory service and artifacts. These are all coming under the identity and security. This you will be creating the users and giving them rights inside the cloud. Which services the people can utilize it? What all the services are intended to be used by the particular server and particular service like that. We will be activating that services under their own artifacts. There is also one other tool. That is also one other tool to use your security activating the tool itself. Directory service is there, inspector is there, IAM. IAM, we can create the policies. We can create the policies, inline policies we can create, group policies we can create, and we can assign it to the group of people, like one certain project people in the sense, they will be having certain rights for that over certain directories only, or servers only. That is possible on IAM. Like that, we can have many other identity and security as well. The next one, it's a management tools. Without a management, nothing is going to work out. So we have many other tools which are available on the AWS platform. That is a CloudWatch. CloudWatch is a monitoring tool. That's a monitoring tool. Cloud Formation, that is for a templates creations for your automating your complete server creation, website creations, database creations, and everything. You can do it in one script. Like Cloud Trial, it's a log analysis. It goes OpsWorks, config, service catalog, trusted advisor. These are all the many things which are available under your AWS platform on the management tools. Management tools like that. Next one is application services, which we may not be using it very heavily, but we just need to know that what all application services are there. SWFs, it's another service, and API gateway, Elastic Transcoder, upstream, step functions. This transcoder and all like that, if you like to transfer from one mode to another mode of the file services and other things of your file or something like that, you'll be using it. This is a application services we'll be using it. Next one, it's a developer tools. Who are doing the code developments? Who are doing the code engineers? Means the software engineers who will develop the code, and they'll be developing certain platforms for that, and they'll be developing some of the applications on this. So for them, there are tools are there. Some more are there in this one. I just took only 3, 4. Code commit, code build, code deploy, code pipeline. These are all coming under the developer tools. This will be coming under your platform as a service. So you can create a platform for this people, and you can give it back to them. So they will be developing the codes under that platform or service. As a sysops admin, you will be activating the services for certain people who are into that project. Mobile platform, Cognito, Mobile Hub, Device Form, Pinpoint, Mobile Analytics. These are all we can do. APK, what is that? Android applications, iOS applications, Windows mobile applications. Like all the applications that people can create on this one. And the business productivity, like a mail you can send, docs you can create that, IoT definitely it is there. And desktop and upstream and workspaces are there in this. And artificial intelligence, this is there in our market for quite a long time. So with these tools, we can create an AI with the use of ML. We can do this, Lex, Poly, machine learning, recognition. These are all things which you can do it with the artificial intelligence, but I don't work on artificial intelligence, okay? And this messaging platform, simple networks service, simple queue service, simple notification service, simple queue service, and simple email service. We can activate this for notifications. Like notifications can be your messaging, like SMS you can send it out, like that you can do. Or notifications can be created for a group of people. Like we'll be creating a Google groups and Yahoo groups previously used to create that. The same you can do it on AWS platform also, which will give the group of people will be discussing on certain topics, technical topics which you can discuss on that. So we can create it with the SNS platform. SQS is for software engineers will be using the queue service. Email service we can create that. And we come to that certification map. It's very important. So what are the certifications are there in this? Foundational, this is first certification. Cloud practitioner. People would like to start the AWS cloud, they have to go with the AWS practitioner. So if you already knows about the cloud, you don't need to take this certification at all. You can directly come into this associate level. First one is a solution architect. Now we are discussing about this operation side. That is SysOps administrator. This SysOps administrator is a bit more need to study than the solution architect associate level. Then if you are a developer or a programmer, you can directly take this AWS developer course certification. So the next level is what? Next level is you need to be a DevOps engineer. For both of them, you require to be a DevOps engineer on this. So this is about the certification path, certification map, I can just say. You'll start with a cloud practitioner, you go to the associate level, then you will become the professional level. Once you become a professional, then you can choose your specialty. Either you can be a network engineer or it can be a security engineer. You can give machine learning, Alexa build skill builder, data analytics, database. Anything you can choose of it. But there is no prerequisites as such. If you like to come to the specialty, you can directly write this exam. No issues at all. AWS will not ask you anything. But what is the way of doing the things? Knowing about the cloud first is the first step. Then get into the second step like associate level. Then get into the professional like a third step. This is the fourth step. Actually, this is the fourth step, I can say. Means it is a highly advanced level. You need to have the cloud knowledge, cloud working knowledge in AWS perfectly. Preferably in AWS cloud knowledge is required. Then only you will be able to do the advanced networking on AWS. Security on AWS. Security engineers can go for this. This all the networking people can go for this. Machine learning and these are all coming under the data analytics things. And this is the database engineers can go for this. Specialty is the last level. 1, 2, 3, 4 certifications you can have. Out of this, we are talking about today, it's about the SysOps admin level only. So it is an administrator level. You are going to do the administration of the entire cloud for your organization or your customer level. So next, SysOps admin associate. What this has been discussed here. AWS certified SysOps admin associate exam is intended for system administrators in a system operations role with at least 1 year of experience in the deployment, management on operations on AWS. This is more important on AWS. You need to know the cloud knowledge. AWS knowledge is required, then only you can do that. So ability is validated. Deploy, maintain, operate and scalable, highly available fault tolerant system on AWS. Implement the control flow of data to and fro from AWS. Select appropriate AWS service based on compute data and security requirements. Identify appropriate use of AWS operational best practices. Estimate AWS usage cost and identify operational cost. And migrate on-premises workload to AWS, very important. Recommended knowledge, understanding AWS tenants, and hands-on experience on CLI and SDK, that is more important. Understanding network technologies, understanding security concepts and hands-on experience, information security, understanding the virtualization technology, monitoring and auditing systems, networking DNS, DCP, TCP IP and firewalls, ability to translate architectural requirements. These are all, I can just say, the prerequisite for a person to take this SysOps admin associate. And in this SysOps admin associate, what all things you are going to learn? This is the domains. Which are all the domains are discussed on this? What are the domains? Domain 1 is monitoring and reporting. Create and maintain metrics and alarms using the AWS monitoring services. Recognize and differentiate performance and availability metrics. Perform the steps necessary to remediate based on performance and availability metrics. Then it comes to the second level. High availability. Implement scalability and elasticity based on use case. Recognize and differentiate highly available resilient environment on AWS. Deployment and provisioning. Identity and execute steps on cloud resources. Identify, remediate development, deployment issues. Storage and data management. Security and compliant. Networking. Automation and optimization. So this everything has been discussed. It's like say monitoring you'll do, high availability you'll do, deployment you'll do, storage and data management, security and compliance, networking, automation and optimization. And this is an important one. Here only this all CLI and SDK and your API, everything will be coming up. Okay, so this much we are going to study on this. There are 7 domains we need to cover it up when we are studying the SysOps Admin Associate. This is the next level of Solution Architect Associate on this. So, let us see something more. What could be the next slide? Examination information. AWS Certified System Admin, SysOps Admin Associate exam, that is the exam code SOAC01, will be available to take on after March 23. Okay, it's already there 1 year over. So we can take this 65 questions, either multiple choice or multiple response. What is the level of exam? It is an associate level. Delivery method is a testing center or online proctored exam. It depends on, because of now the Corona time, you can even write the exam from home, something like that, it's possible. And time 130 minutes. 130 minutes, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes extra, like that. So what is the price of this? 150 US dollars. Practice exam is 20 US dollars. You can go for a practicing first, then you can take the actual exam. So it will be coming around $170 something like that. Okay, $150, it's 15 into 8. How much it comes? You can do that. 15 into 8, it will be like 400. 8 on 8. So 12,000 something 12,000 something will be coming up for in Indian rupee. And all the languages like that, what all this is supported: English, Japanese, Korean, simplified Chinese. We are going to take it only in English. All the Indians will be taking English, no problems. So how many questions? 65 questions. And what is the delivery method? Testing center or online proctored? How much time? 130 minutes. What is the cost? $150. That's all. You just go and write that exam. You get clear. There is no practical question answers. There will be multiple choice only will be coming up. You will be selecting the best answers on that. One or more answers on this. And these are all the important links. If you like to create your free account, you can go with that amazon.com/free. And if you wanted to have the examination info, certification/certified SysOps Admin Associate, this link you can go with that. And if you like to see the exam blueprint, what all things are discussed, I already told you that. Same thing. Here you can go and check it out. Examination info, it will be shown on this. It's going there. Administrator Associate, validate your technical skills and expertise in industry standard credential and grow your career. This is the same thing which I took it from there. Okay, prepare for your exam like this. So simple. It's in them all like that. And this is as usual. I have my own informations for you. Like you can talk to me anytime. Okay, about any other things, would like to do any certifications on cloud and on networking side and on firewallings, any other certifications if you would like to look for, you can contact me on my WhatsApp number or you can call me, and you can send a mail on stuckroute@gmail.com. You can do that, and you can subscribe to my channel, YouTube channel. That's a free channel. You can just subscribe to that, and you can see the daily, like weekly, I will be uploading the new videos to that, all technological related. You can just see that you can get updated with all the technologies on this. So please suggest my channel to all your friends, colleagues, and relatives so that they can get a good knowledge about the technical and the path and all that. It will be much clear for them, like what they would like to have it, what they would like to go for, which is the certification currently is in the market is good, which will be giving the much salary for us. How do I switch my job? Where I go for it? So these all information I was talking in some of the previous, like online seminars like this. So you can see on this my channel, and I guess many people are there in the meeting. You can ask me any questions. You can unmute your mic, and you can ask any questions if you'd like to have it. I will be able to answer you. Go ahead, please. Thank you. Any questions? No problem about the. Oh, Dattatreya, this I will answer you later, not now. This is fog computing, shadow ID, and other things. This is not much related to cloud, but maybe in the cloud also. But I'll answer you later, not now. We talk about something on a secure certifications on security or AWS cloud or Azure cloud. You can take that, Microsoft cloud or Google cloud. These are all questions. If you like to ask, you can ask me any other questions if you have in your mind. Unmute your mic and talk to me, no problems, no issues at all. It's just a one-on-one only with me. I'll be talking to you only. Don't worry that it's not like a group of gathered people are there asking something. Don't be shy to ask about any questions with me. I'll be answering you. If I don't have the answer, I will get the answer for you, maybe 1 or 2 days later. Then I'll give it to you. That's possible. And about that certifications level, we can do that. No problem. I'll be conducting the exams. So I'll be conducting the courses for networking, cloud platforms, and automations like Ansible and Python, network automations I do, and the cloud level, and load balancers also used to connect the classes. Firewalls, all firewalls, Palo Alto firewall, Checkpoint firewall, Juniper firewall, ASA firewall. Currently FTD is going on. Maybe that will also be ready by next month. FTD.
Ramnath, do you have any plans to?
Yeah, please.
Hello. Yeah, do you have any plans to make videos for SIEM solutions? SIEM.
Which solution?
Security information event. SIEM solution, security information event management for security analyst and cyber security.
Yes, CM you're asking. So that is coming under there are many platforms there actually. Yeah, CM. We call it as a CM only. So that is coming under the cyber security together, which I talk about that. But CM, only CM, okay, I will make that not an issue, because it is just a part of our security operation team. So CM is also one other thing, because it comes under the troubleshooting, upgradations, patch managements, and getting on call with the people and discussing all these things, analysis of the troubleshooting things, like taking the TCP dump from the firewall and doing all these things. So okay, this also I can. And Dattatreya is asking, what is the best certification to opt for to begin with the cloud security? Oh, great. Cloud security, first of all, you should know cloud. Then only you can go to the cloud security. Okay. Cloud security, cloud, any one of the certification, go for it. Either AWS or Google or Microsoft certification, you go for that. Then go for a cloud security in the sense, there are new certifications has come up. That is called as a CCSK. CCSK, I made one video on CCSK. Certification of cloud security knowledge, something like that. That is the best in the industry now. People are looking for that certificate. People. And CEH, you can definitely do that. That is a certified ethical hacker that you can do. That we are talking about cloud also being some of the modules are there. And OWASP is there, OWASP, that is also there. CASSP is there. CASSP, they are conducting something about the cloud security operations are also there. CASM, something is there. But when you're asking for a best cloud security in the sense, OWASP is covering up some cloud things. CCSK is the latest one, which you can go for a CCSK on this. CCSK requires basic proper knowledge on security with at least 6 to 8 years of experience on the security industry. Then you can go for the CCSK, because exam is quite a hypothetical exam. There is no direct questions or direct answers you can give it out. So it is more of analytical and okay, Pradeep Kumar, okay, leaving. Okay, no issues, okay, no problem. So CCSK is like more of, hypothetical, and it is written on something on the clouds based securities and standards and specifications. Like more things are discussed on that rather than looking for a technical information or something. It's a standards and operations and other things are there. Individual level cloud, individual level in the cloud. Individual level, you will not be able to do any work in the cloud because you just need to work in operations. But you will be getting knowledge on like in the cloud. That is very much possible. So because you would like to promote yourself towards a cloud technologies, in the sense you require a cloud based knowledge, because every other services nowadays in the private sector, which is going on, all the IT companies which are going on the cloud only. I don't know anything about your government sector or something, because you are coming from a government company. So how much is the government cloud has been there? US and then I guess in some of the European countries, they are using the AWS government cloud. But India, I don't have any much idea about it. Now the companies are going for cloud in the operations, because we are also having them SBI. SBI never goes to the cloud. It's more or less is a government company only, State Bank of India. Like that, there are government related cloud means it's yeah. Somebody speaking. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, it is like compliance and all the things they look
compliance. Yeah, compliance standards and standards and verifications which goes on, and you will be going for like kind of standard operations. How do you make that? It's like a more of a process oriented thing. CCSK. There you can go for that. That is very optional. But I would like you to suggest that instead of taking the cloud security, like better you go for a security first, security and the cyber security. then you go for the cloud in the sense cloud is a part of it. It's not cloud is not only the security platform or something. The security has been whichever it has been implemented on the cloud is called as the cloud security. But we are using the same kind of a standards only in the cloud security also, because we are putting the same software, same kind of like access we are giving on this, and the standards which we are using on the on-premises we are using on the cloud also. Right? So you need to have the general security concepts in your mind. For that, you can learn some security plus or some certifications other. If you can go for that, then you can come to that cloud security CCSK that requires a heavy experiences on the security platform itself. Like someone is asking about CM and other things. Like that, we can do that. It's possible. CCSK you can go for it. If you are a very much experienced person, then I don't have any other certificate in my mind. CISSP was there, but CISSP more or less it is talking about again standards and other things only. It's offered by the different company. CISSP, cloud is taken as a small chapters only in that CISSP, but CACSK dedicated only for cloud based operations. So that must be a best option from my side, I can say. So any other question from anyone else regarding any cloud and security and networking, something like that? Okay, if you know any other questions, I can just show you some kind of things on the cloud side. Means I have my login to that. I have logged into the I am in the management console now. So here we will be able to get all the services on the AWS. Compute service. This is completely a compute. Means you will be installing servers and operating systems and other things. This is for a containers. Containers like Elastic Container, and this is a storage company. S3, simple storage service. It's all completely a machine learning, which we don't require. You know. Okay, then it's they talk about the databases. It's a database, it's a RDS, DynamoDB, Elastic Cache, Neptune, many things are there. Migration and transfer, many people are doing on this because we are doing the migration hubs. We use the third-party software also. vMotion is also there. The VMware is offering up a thing called vMotion. We can do manually also, it is possible. Or people will be writing the scripts and they'll give it to you to do the migration service. Server migration service, data migration service, application discovery service. We can have many things on this, it's possible. And networking and content delivery, that is much more important for all the network engineers should be knowing about that. VPC, CloudFront, Route 53, Gateway, Direct Connect, and Global Accelerator. It's like this, it comes. And the developer tools, these are all the developer who are going to develop something on this. This is all developer tools. Customer enablement, robotics, blockchain, satellite, quantum technology, all the media services, here it is. And analytics platform, machine learning, security and identity. This is very important. IAM, Identity and Access Manager. Here we will be creating the users and giving them rights over the services inside your company private cloud, inside the AWS. And Services Manager, Guard Duty, Inspector, like Directory Services, WAF. We can configure WAF also. Web Application Firewall. We can do it with an F5 ASM module. And do it with the F5 Web Application Firewall. Many other things are there. These all services, we don't see it in the SSOps admin level. We'll see what is required for us to know, like this. So it's very easy to go for this, AWS certifications or something, but with the proper knowledge, if we can come, means like networking knowledge, server knowledge, OS knowledge, application knowledge, as well as the database knowledge. These are all the 4 to 5 domains that are already been, discussed on this. So we will discuss the same thing on the different platform. That platform is AWS. In the AWS platform, we will install all these things and we'll activate it and we'll give it back to the customer. So this is about that. S3, can go to the S3. So in S3, we will be creating the buckets. Like that means it's like a folders, and in the folders we can able to upload any documents to that, pictures, files, everything you can do. We are continuing to improve. Something is going on. So create a bucket. You just create a bucket. You'll have to give a name here and the region where you would like to create the bucket on this, and choose the bucket. Then we can give the access whether you would like to give the full access to the people or We are not going to block it out. We will give the public access to all the people or something. It's possible. Bucket versioning, we can activate that. Tags, we can give it. Encryption, if you like to do that, you can do that. Advanced settings, object locking, and many things which you can do. This is how we'll be creating the bucket. After creating the bucket, we'll be uploading the files to that to see that all like this. So access points and object lambda access points, and create that. Batch operations we can do. Marketplace for S3. As I will be creating many other services as well. I can close this. We'll go back to the services on this. These are all the services. You seen that? Like we'll be able to create our account. 12 months free account we can create that. No charges for that, unless and until you are not touching any paid services inside the AWS. Okay. When you come to the sessions, I'll tell you that which are all going to cost you, which are all not going to cost you. So we will be taking only the less minimal cost. We do that. Rest all we will do it with the free tier operations. In the free tier, 90% of the services which we would like to know about to clear this exam will be covered on free tiers. Around 5 to 10% of the things which we require to be spending little money. Maximum around 50-60 rupees will be spending at the end of the course or something to clear your all these things. So as usual, my information is here. So if you like to have any informations, you can talk to me on my number anytime. Okay. And if you have any other questions, you can ask me now. And I would like to have your email addresses so that I can send you this recording and the slides also to you directly to your email accounts. So you can send your email accounts, and if you would like to give your numbers also. In the Zoom chat, you can type it out, your email addresses. I can send you that information for you. In half an hour, I'll be giving you all these information for you. No worries. Will you provide on Azure? Yes, I can do it on Azure. Yes, definitely. I do the Azure classes also. Azure Cloud I provide. Yes, definitely. Imran, yes, I do the Azure Cloud. Yes. Azure Administrator course we can do. Administrator course I conduct. Yes, I do that. So, okay, you can give me your email addresses so that I can. Are you planning to conduct any training anytime soon? Yeah, possible. I can definitely do that. I am trying to start that services anytime, whenever you want. Please send me an email to myself, so you can. Okay. So you can talk to me on this one. So I'll be starting the sessions as soon as the people are coming. One or two guys comes means I'll be starting the session on AWS. No problem. We can do the solution architect or a sysops admin or any level we can go for that. And I conduct that this also. Azure also, Microsoft Azure, as well as Google Cloud also I conduct. So for all three clouds, we will be creating the free tier account and we will be working on them. So no need to worry about that that part. I will take care of all. We'll be giving you the proper suggestions, guidance for to creating the users, creating the services on this, and not spending much money on that. Okay, many people are giving the mail addresses. It's good, nice to see that. And we'll be starting the sessions as soon as possible, whenever you are ready. Ping me separately or talk to me, or you can ping me directly on the WhatsApp. Let's have that. I would like to attend CCNA and cloud training, Dattatreya. Definitely, sir. Come to me. Just talk to me on this number, which is on my, which is on the screen, 8197400835. You can talk to me anytime. I am ready to serve you. No issues at all. Okay. Or you can give me your number. I'll talk to you immediately after this. Like some little bit of work is there. So I need to process this video and upload it to the YouTube. Maybe half an hour it'll take. Then after that, I will be talking to you. You can give me your number, Dattatreya. I can talk to you directly. Or you just ping me on my WhatsApp in the same number. I'll immediately talk to you on this after this, finishing this demo. Thank you. So thanks for all the people who joined today and asked very good questions to me, and very helpful and supporting. Yeah, great, nice. Thank you, Sagar. Okay, and thanks for all the people joined today, and you spend your time at least one and a half hour on Sunday, beautiful Sunday. You spend time with me. Thank you for that. And as usual, I will be coming up with the new chapters on the next Sunday around 11 o'clock. I'll be sending you the informations accordingly. And thanks, Dattatreya. You've given your number also. I'll be talking to you. No worries. Thanks for joining, all the people joining today. And I'm going to end this meeting. If you have any questions, even after the meeting also, you can talk to me on this number and you can send me an email. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks all. I'm ending this meeting. Thank you.